find a way.
Dustin, man, you got some really important work that you are doing here locally in Carter County, and it's growing to other cities. And I'm just in our brief conversations, I got really interested in it's a really narrow focus that you have, and I want to hear. I think it's a really important thing that you're doing that we don't talk enough about. But first, man, I want to hear about you. Like, where does your story start?
Well, thanks for having me on here. So, I mean, I could sum it up pretty easily. The beginning, of started doing some crazy things, and I was probably about 2021, man. I started dabbling in opiates and benzos and pain pills and whatnot. And
how old were you then?
Oh no, I mean I was about 2021. So this was
okay.
Yeah, so this was 2007,
okay.
2008.
All right, so you were 20 years.
Yeah, I was about 21 years old, and first I started. I liked how it felt to work. I had energy. I had this when I would take the pain pills, man. I had energy. I got to do things. I didn't get tired. It was just like, man, this is great. I could do this. And then before you know it, it went from, man, this is fun to work, recreational, feel good, to I can't get out of bed without having it.
Was there a point there where the energy was constructive? Like it improved your life initially?
So initially, at work, I was working at the railroad, and I would take it and would just feel great all day, and probably got a lot done, and it felt like, man, this is great. So I wanted to, hey, let's try it again and keep it going. And then it got to, I was taking them outside of work, and then I was taking them, every couple hours, and then every couple hours went to I couldn't even get out of bed without feeling sick, withdrawing without having it.
What made you choose to start?
So to be fair, it was just curiosity, man. It was I saw some other people do it at work, and I saw how they worked on it, and I said, I would like to try that and see. I mean, I didn't try it when I was in high school. I wasn't like the pot smoker. I drank a little bit in high school, but nothing crazy. And I saw people do it at work, man. And curiosity was the only thing. Was like, I wonder why everybody likes that. I'd like to try it and just give it a try. And then I liked it.
Yeah.
And then it just went from, man, I kind of like this, to I need it.
Yeah. How long did that take? Is that you talking about weeks, months, years?
Mean, it's hard to actually like pinpoint it. There was a time where I went from, I like it to I need it. I mean, there's really no time frame on it. I mean, of course it doesn't happen like overnight, but the more you do it, it's like, I can't sit and just pick out a time frame, because there's a line in the big book of, Alcoholics Anonymous, Drug Addicts Anonymous, that talks about, there's an invisible line we cross from, recreational to dependent stuff. And that's true, because you never know when it's coming up. You never know when you do it. And then before you know it, you're out of a job. You have no relationships with your family. You can't keep anything going. And then, I mean, it was just the classic story,
What was the first indicator for you that it had gone, this had gone sideways?
So the initial indicator was maybe I might have a problem, was the first DUI. I rear-ended somebody in Kingsport, and on my way to work, and got a DUI. And maybe that was the initial, like, maybe this is getting out of hand, but it didn't register like this is out of hand enough to stop.
Yeah.
It went, this is out of hand because I'm in jail now for a DUI, but it's okay. It's just one, like, I'll fix it.
Yeah.
And
well, you're also in your early 20s, or like for men, I think women develop, their brains develop earlier than ours, but at 20, like we're still
we're still
underdeveloped mentally.
Yeah. And there's also, they talk once again, they talk about it in the big book of, we have that personality of like, yeah, I screwed up this time, but I know how to do it this time and not screw up. So I know how to do it like burning your hand on a stove and be like, well, I burn it this time, but it's still hot, but I can figure it out where I won't be burnt and then screw it up even more,
Yeah. So you had a job. You were functioning before you started.
Mm-hmm.
Were there holes, like looking back, were there holes in your life? Like were there gaps in your life that maybe you recognize now that you didn't at the time? Like did you have healthy relationships in your life
back then?
Yeah.
I mean, I was with, at the time, my kid's mom. We were together. I mean, I have a twin brother. He had just left for the military a year or so before. I had a younger brother that we knew like we were brothers and we loved each other, but we weren't real close.
Yeah.
And, my mom, I don't want to say I had a great relationship with my mom. I mean, she was around and then, she ended up moving. So it was really, and then like my friends moved away after high school and it was just kind of.
Yeah. So typical 20 something story where your life changes pretty quickly and you're trying to figure it out and everybody else is trying to figure it out too.
Mm-hmm. And then maybe it makes it worse because when I was at that age and even still today, sometimes compare my situation to other people's. Like I'll see, like my twin brother's in the Army and he's getting married and he's getting this cool stuff and I'm struggling, you know what I mean? And then you get hard on yourself.
Yeah. That comparison thing, like I think social media.
Oh, man.
Like we're always comparing ourselves to these unrealistic people that are putting their best selves out there.
On Facebook or social media. Yeah. They're like, look at us.
Yeah.
And then you get hard on yourself because you see these things that you can't have or that you don't have.
Yeah.
And also in the recovery community, there's this, you measure my recovery with somebody else's measuring stick or something. So like you're living in a sober living house or something and somebody else has been there less time and they have their own car back. They get their own things with their kids back. And you're like, well, that's not happening for me. And that, is demoralizing and, for a lot of the people and, it brings them down a little bit and they get hard on themselves. And I say that because I lived it. I know exactly what that feels like. And it's not easy sometimes.
Yeah. I think it affects all of us. I don't think anybody in our culture is immune to this dynamic. It's probably always been there, but social media just takes it to another level.
Magnifies it. Yeah.
It's in our face all the time and it affects us all differently, but like we've talked a lot in here about like how that affects girls, like in specific ways. I don't know that we spend enough time on boys and specifically that age.
And I'll tell you too, especially, people our age, growing up, on TV or anything, even before social media, men were programmed to really not have emotions. Like socially programmed to like the only thing you can feel is love for your family and your wife and then rage or anger. Like you can't feel vulnerable. You can't feel weak. You can't feel like you have to ask for help because then you're weak. And that's a lot of the stigma that we kind of go through trying to come through and be able to talk about our feelings and talk about things because it's not weak to talk about emotions and feelings. That's human. Like we all have them, man. And I think, like I said, if you go back and watch like a lot of the 90s shows and commercials and movies, 90s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, like if men were vulnerable, they got called names, they got called bull, they were talked about. And I just don't think that's fair.
Yeah. Yeah. And our role models are different and they're not necessarily doing that either.
Right.
Yeah. So I think your story is really interesting because it's probably not an extraordinarily odd story.
No.
Like when we talk about the drug epidemic in Appalachia, like you've lived it.
I have.
Right. Mm-hmm. And you've got like this really insightful perspective on it. So it's really interesting to me to hear that, like, this journey and what it looks like, because it's not just you.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot of people.
So you get a DUI. You're starting to put the pieces together that everything's not okay, but you're still 20, 21.
Yeah, 21, 22.
You're at a point in your life where you probably don't have a strong support system to pull you out of this. So you're kind of, man, it's a lonely time of life, right?
Oh man, and it just got worse. The lonely feeling. You know, the DUI came, and then, probation, and, no license and all the things. And
so you lost your license immediately.
Yeah. DUI, they take your license. Well, gosh, that was so long ago. Maybe I was supposed to get the interlock device, which is crazy because I got a DUI from pills and they wanted a alcohol device. But I mean, going through the whole thing of, like, I could sit here and talk about losing my job, because that inevitably comes whenever they were lenient when I came back from the DUI, and we're like, well, we'll work with you. But then, coming in and getting worse as I'm talking, getting the addiction gets worse. And then I start taking more and taking not just opiates, but like Xanaxes, benzos, start taking that stuff, and, start falling asleep at work, start doing things that they fire me. They end up sending me home. And, well, now, and the same thing with other jobs, I'm doing just enough to scrape by and get high. And
how aware were you? Like, it's obviously anybody looking from the outside is seeing this isn't healthy.
I just thought it's okay. Like, it's my life. I'll do what I want as long as I'm doing what I can. Everything else got put on the back burner. My wife, my kids, everything. Like, as long as I got what I needed, it was fine.
Does it become like a day-to-day, you just change your time frame, so it becomes like getting through one day at a time,
sometimes it's hours,
thinking about where your life is going?
Yeah, sometimes I just got to get through this few hours, or I got to I'm so sick right now, I got to do this, or I can't handle this sober, so I got to do this. And sometimes it's not even a whole day-to-day basis, it's just half day, whatever, and you have no cares. I don't want to say not like awareness, but you have no cares about the repercussions or what this is going to do in the future, because that's what takes priority.
Your time frame is just like immediate, like the next.
As soon as your
hours.
eyes open in the morning, if you don't have something, that's all you're working towards.
See, I don't think people that haven't lived through this really understand that part of it.
And I agree with that. Yeah.
Because when you're a highly functioning person, all of your decisions are long time frame. Like, you're thinking about your life's trajectory and what today will do to get you where you want to go, right? Like, that's what functioning, successful adults do. And if you're in a completely different, once you get on in this cycle, you're in a completely different reality.
Yeah, that's all. Like, literally, you don't care about the future. You don't care. Like, in my personal experience, the only future I cared about was in 30 days when I got to go back to the doctor and get a refill.
That's the furthest you.
Yeah, like I don't care what's happening unless I had a court date or doctor's appointment. It's the only thing I cared about, and the court date was still secondary. Like, I don't care. I'll take a failure to appear and go to jail for a couple of days, as long as I get to go do what I want.
Man, it's just hard. It's hard to relate. It's hard to relate to that unless you've lived it. Like, you're probably on the backside now having a hard time to relating to that day.
Yeah. There's a couple of things that I can talk about in a second about that. Like, when you get to the point where you can't keep a job, and of course, my kid's mom, she wasn't an addict. She was a great mom. She is a great mom. And like, we're not together, we're divorced and everything. But if it wasn't for her being there for my kids while I was not, like, it's hard to tell where my kids would be. But like you can't keep a relationship. You go in and out of jail because if you can't keep a job, you're going to find other ways to get it. Then you start stealing from stores, from people, family, friends, manipulating them to loan money. And sooner or later that catches up with you. And then there's jail.
And those relationships aren't seen as long-term things. Like you hurt, like you just start hurting people because your time frame is the next 3 hours.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like you can text your family, friends, whatever, hey, I got a light bill today. The lights are going to get cut off. And you don't have one, but you're going to tell them that because that's going to tug on their heartstrings. And they love me. So they're going to be like, well, I don't want Dustin to be without power. Yeah. So they'll send money.
Yeah.
But then like after 4 times in 2 months that my lights are going to get shut off, they're like, okay. Yeah. Something's going on.
It's like Groundhog Day. It happens every week, and they don't understand why you can't make progress.
Right.
And you can't make progress because you're living in 3-hour increments.
Right. And then when this person catches on, I'm going over here. So now I'm burning bridges everywhere because I'm lying to people that love me.
Yeah.
And, jail, takes, you get put on 11 months, 29 misdemeanor probation, and it takes 3 years to complete it because I don't pay anything towards it. Can't pass a drug test, so they keep violating you.
When you look back during that, in the depths of that, is there anything that anybody did that you remember being like, man, like they really helped, they were able to help me? The system?
No. Not until the very end. But I think that was a mindset change too.
Yeah.
But I got a lot of, let's say, tough love from close family. And that's not something that I felt worked. And actually, so when we're in addiction, the victim mentality is real. No matter what you say or do, I'm the victim. No matter what happens, I'm the one. You're being mean to me. You're hurting me. I don't care what I've done to you. It doesn't matter what I've done to anybody else. When you say something to me, I take offense to it because poor me. Can't believe you're doing this to me. And
you think that's true for all users? It's not personality dependent. Like,
no, my personal opinion is, in my experience, most people with substance abuse or, alcohol, whatever, they do have the victim mentality.
Yeah.
They have I can't believe you're mean to me. They got victim mentality, and then there's entitlement, and then there's, just different things in their life, selfishness, self-centeredness, all the things.
But those people that you observe that in, like before or after the abuse, that's not necessarily their personality.
No. That's the disorder taking over.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so people tried to help with tough love, but tough love
pushed me away because tough love, I was already poor me. And then the tough love came, cutting me off, cutting my life, just different things that happened.
Yeah.
And then it went, my mentality went from, I can't believe you would do this to me when I'm already hurt and down. So now I pushed you away even farther. And now I don't want to have a relationship with you at all.
Looking back, what could the people close to you, is there anything that they could have done that would have helped? Or did you just have to?
I had to get to the place where I was just done, because no matter what anybody did, if anybody helped me, like financially, grocery wise, like anything that would have helped me personally, if it was something that I benefited from, I wanted it. If it was something that I would have benefited from, like treatment or anything like that, I didn't want it, and I didn't want you in my life if that's what you're going to talk to me about.
Man, it's such a powerless.
It is
such a powerless position for the people that want to help.
Yeah. So speaking on that, I have my oldest daughter right now, 21. She is deep in the trenches right now of this, and it's hard to watch, and it's hard to see, and it's hard to talk about, or it's hard to. I don't want to put her through the same things that I feel like didn't help me. But also, like, I'm her dad, and I want to help her no matter what's going on with her. She's 21. She's got 4 kids. And have my 5-year-old, she's got a 5-year-old son, my 5-year-old grandson. He's been with me for months, and I hate watching her go through this. And like when she texts me and does things, I see a lot of myself when I was in addiction and the things she says. Like she plays the victim, she does this, and I can read it and see it, and it's upsetting, and it hurts my feelings of some of the things she says, but I also think back of like, that was me. Like, I did that.
So, are you able not to take that personally? It's got to be hard, right?
It's hard, but I try, it's hard, but I'm like, man, she's just not in the good headspace right now.
So what do you, like, you're in that powerless position.
Yeah. After living on the other end of it.
What do you, like, there's loads of people in that situation. Like, they care about the person, but you don't know what to do to help.
No, you can't. Like,
you what do? You just wait and
like, I mean, that's all you can do. Cause so like I'm in the great position where I can just make a phone call or a couple texts, and I can like get her in treatment. I can help her get into sober living. Like, I can help her do these things. And she's done it twice. She just leaves and doesn't do anything else. And so then I'm like, well, like, I can't do anything else. She's 21. Like, what can I, even if she was 16, 17, I can't force her not to do it. She's going to find ways to do it if she wants to do it, just like I did. And it is hard to see, and it's hard to go through, because there's just so much, there's so much that I wish that I could just be like, hey, come on, let's get this together. Your son, like, I don't want you to be, you're 21. I don't want you to be my age, 38, and think back of all the times you missed with your kids. And that's where it's headed. And I just pray and hope that she gets a hold of it before it's too late, I guess.
It sounds like what you understand that I wouldn't understand is this is a problem that you can't solve for her.
No, I can't. And it's also a problem that I know it's not really her. I know that the things that she says or does and her actions, like, that's not her. And it's this disease that's took over her brain, the substance abuse, the addiction. Like, it's what drives her. And I know what it's like to wake up and have no other worry, not even your kids, because I was the same way. Not even my kids mattered as long as I got to get what I wanted. And it's hard to judge her when I did it to her, because she's my oldest. So she saw, her whole life I was in addiction, basically, other than maybe a year or two early on, and then now. So the better part of her life, she saw me in addiction. So it's not like I gave her a great example what it's to be a sober parent and have healthy relationships. Like, she didn't get that from me, and she doesn't have a great relationship with her mom. So it's hard not to hold a little, like, accountability, I guess, for the influence,
Yeah.
Like, I didn't
guilt.
force. Yeah,
for sure. But so tell me about how you didn't stay there. Like, you didn't stay in that place that you were at.
No.
And for me, it's interesting because it seems like such a dark place that escalates.
It is the worst.
And it all, to me, looking at it from the outside, it seems like all of the momentum is going down, and it's just cycling, and it gets worse. I imagine it might start with you thinking about life in daily increments, and then it becomes 8-hour increments, and then 3-hour increments, probably to 1-hour increments. And like, when I look at that, I'm like, how do you come out? Like, how do you come out of that? Where do you start? It's like gravity. Like, how do you reverse it?
So there were times I didn't want to kill myself because the depression and the loneliness was like took over. The inner thoughts, judgmental myself, like you're not a great dad, you're not a great person. Look how many people don't like you. Look what you've done to these people. and it sucks you down. And then you get in this low self-worth, self-pity, self-esteem. It just consumes you. And when you get that way, there's this like internal judge in your head that's looking for validation. So like somebody sends you a text or somebody sends you see something and there's like, it could not even be related to you, but it checks that box in your brain of like, yep, see, this is where I'm at. I'm worthless. So then there were times that like, I didn't want to kill myself, but I felt like everybody would be better off if I didn't wake up. That's how low my life was. And like I was too scared to do anything about it, but I didn't want, like I cut everybody off. I had my apartment. I was living by myself and it was a government assistance apartment. So like I didn't have rent, didn't have anything like that. And I just kind of sat there and would wake up and literally like there were times that I would sell anything in my house, even if it was new and I liked it, video games, whatever, just so I could go get what I wanted. And I didn't stay there. It was kind of, you said, did anybody do anything that helped me? And I went to jail in September 2022. Went to jail, picked up a felony theft charge. Never had a felony before, had a bunch of misdemeanors, but I picked up a felony theft charge. And I was sitting in Sullivan County Jail, and I had a hold in Carter County Jail, and I had a hold in Washington County Jail. So I'm thinking in my brain, I'm not getting out anytime soon. You know, I've got holds in other counties from stuff, probation and whatnot that I didn't complete. And I've got this big charge in Sullivan County now. And I was sitting in Carter County. They moved me over to Carter County and put off court and everything. So I still had time, but somebody came to Carter County Jail. My friend, her name's Melody, and she works at Families Free. I didn't ask her for help. Like I didn't ask for treatment. I didn't ask for anything because my head, I'm going to do my jail time, then I'm coming out and going home. She came into the jail and she was in there for somebody else, and she saw me that I was in there, and she pulled me out of the cell and offered me treatment. And at first I was like, well, you know, I got a pending court case. Treatment would look real nice in front of the judge. And then I got to talking to her and I was like, man, I've been doing this for 15 years and it's progressed from, you know, taking a pain pill at work to now I'm shooting up every day because I can't function without it. And she offered me treatment and I said yes. She came back 2 more times to Carter County Jail just to check on me and she got me a bed for the treatment center here in Johnson City. She got me a bed, or in Johnson City, you know, and she got me a bed. And then I got transferred to Washington County, and she came to Washington. She was there that morning and gave me something to talk to the DA about. They released me that day to go to treatment in 5 days. 5 days. I had fun for 5 days. Like I was going to go out on my terms, you know, and she showed up December 20th, 2022 to take me to treatment. And I know a lot of people could have asked me a million times to go to treatment, and I would have been like, nope, I'm good. And maybe initially it was like, well, maybe it'll help me get out of jail. But nobody asked her to do that. Nobody asked her while I was in jail. Now, I found out, you know, my kid's mom had reached out to her in the past and been like, hey, Dustin needs help. Can you please try to help him? I didn't know that at the time, but she showed up to the jail for somebody else and saw me in there, and she's checked on me, you know, the times I was in jail. She brought me to rehab. I called her from rehab to tell her where I was going. I went from treatment to recovery resources, sober living program, male sober living house.
So how long was the treatment? Was 5 days? Like
so I had 5 days before jail, between jail and treatment. I had 5 days. I got out like the 13th or 14th, and I had to be there the 20th. So but it was 28 days, 28-day treatment center, and I got out January 17th. So I was in there on Christmas. I was in there on New Year's. I was in there on my youngest daughter's birthday. And there's just, I don't know where I would be if she never came to ask me, I guess, if I wanted help. Like, if she wouldn't have came to ask me and talk to me that day, I would have probably just rode my time out in jail and went home. And it's hard to tell where my life would be right now. And I know I've put in the work and I've done the things, and I like Recovery Resources, man, I can't say enough about that sober living program and the people that run it. Like, those are some of the best people I've ever met in my life.
Take us into what that first 28 days.
While I was in treatment.
Yeah.
So, this is just my experience. The first 2 weeks, it wasn't really hard to withdraw off of the drugs because I'd been off of them for months, and then I had 5 days in between where I took.
Because I'd been
in jail, yeah. And I had switched from just regular pain pills and opiates. I wasn't on meth. I wasn't on heroin. And I want to go ahead and say what I'm going to say is not a knock on it. The buprenorphine, the Suboxone, the Subutex, all the things going around that they give the doctors right to give people off of pain pills. Some people can handle it, and some people can wean themselves off and do great. I wasn't one of those people. I was one that got it and wanted to put it in a needle and put it in my arm. And that's what I was taking when I went to treatment. And while I'm sitting in treatment for the first 2 weeks, it's just, I'm there to check a box. I'm there to say, hey, I'm in treatment. And that's all there is. And, I'm going to go out and tell my family I completed rehab, and they're going to say, good job. And everything's going to be fine because I got a certificate.
So you're in that first 2 weeks. You're still probably having some physical withdrawals. All of the mental, emotional stuff
starts coming back too, of stuff that you've numbed for years from taking drugs.
Oh,
it starts flooding back, and you start feeling these emotions that you haven't felt in years,
like relationships,
things you've done in the past, guilt, shame, remorse. Like, everything just starts flooding back.
Because that stuff had just been blurred out of your life.
Because if it was uncomfortable, we'd just get high and numb it.
It sounds like an emotional debt that has to be paid.
Oh yeah,
all at once.
It is exactly. Well, you start feeling it at once, and in my experience, that's where the 12 steps come in, because that's what you work through all of that with your sponsor. And like I was in there first 2 weeks. And it's got to be, the only thing I can explain is a spiritual thing, man. I paid attention to one group one night. Like, I wasn't just over there messing around. I paid attention. And there's this story. The book's written in the 1920s. And the guy that was leading it, there's this story about a guy that was addicted to jaywalking. He would run out in front of a car. He would run out and dodge traffic, get hit by a car. And then he would swear up and down, man, that hurt. I'm never going to do it again. Then he would go out and do it again and get hit by a bigger vehicle and have a worse injury. And he would tell his wife, his wife would be like, I'm not going to stay with you. You keep doing this. Well, I'm never going to do it again. He went to jails, asylums, all these things, sanitariums, never going to do it again. And then he kept getting worse and worse. And I was like, my God, I do that with pills and drugs, man. I connected immediately. And I have this, I don't know if you can see it. I got this scar on my arm, my wrist here. I was in the hospital, man, for shooting up and missing and getting infection. I'm in the hospital for a week for this, and I can't wait for the nurse to leave the room so I can go into the bathroom and do it with my other arm. Like, that's insane. That's the insanity of the disease. And like, that's the jaywalking, man. I'm never going to do it again. And I connected those dots, and I was like, my God, I do that. And man, something just clicked that night. And like the next day I applied while I was in treatment. I applied to go to the sober living program. I got a sponsor. I started like reaching out and participating. And one of the biggest things that I will say that I was an advocate against was therapy. I was so against therapy until I got into that mindset. and I started talking to a therapist and talking about things, and gosh, it's such a relief to be able to do those things sometimes. Just to talk about, hey, this is what I got going on this week. This is what I got going on, blah, blah, blah. And there's somebody that's there just to listen.
Yeah.
And not judge.
Yeah.
And gosh, it was so beneficial.
Well, you had been living in an extreme environment of loneliness. Is it fair to say that? It's like extreme loneliness for years.
Yeah.
But like, even before that, it wasn't like you were surrounded by this robust support group.
No.
But I don't know that any of us are into that. Even like healthy functioning people are still lonely. Like, it is one of the recurring themes in all of the discussions I have.
Yeah.
It's like so much of our problems can be traced back to loneliness. And then you go into an extreme form, but you have an opportunity because of the treatment allows you something other than loneliness through the therapy.
Yeah. And so they preach to you in treatment, the opposite of addiction is connection. Like, they tell you that from day one. And so I start leaning on others while I'm in there, I start leaning on others, just talking about things. And also, so,
when you say others, is it other people in treatment?
Yeah. Because there was about 25, 28 of us in there.
Does that ever happen in jail?
What's that?
Does any of those connections ever happen?
No. I mean, there's a connection that happens in jail, but mainly it's, you're just, for lack of better words, you're just surviving together in jail and you build a connection. But
before that, like before what you're about to describe, when was if you went back in time, when was the last time you had a connection?
Probably high school.
That was healthy. So we're talking.
Yeah, 2004.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, probably high school.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is.
Isn't that crazy how we can, in our society, we can be surrounded by people. And men, I think, I can't speak for women.
Right.
But I know men, it's really hard to make those connections because there's so much of like you were talking about earlier, expectations.
Yeah.
Facades.
You have to, like, struggle in silence. Go through it yourself is what we're kind of programmed to think, and like it's different in the treatment center, man, in rehab, because like you got 20 other men in there that's going through the same thing. They're broke down emotionally. They're broke down just in life, and they're trying to do the best they can to get better. And I like to think that almost everybody that comes in there is of the same mindset of like, I don't want to do this anymore. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a couple that's just in there to check a box and like, hey, I'm just here because court told me to or something. Yeah. But I feel like the most people that come in really want it. And that there's a sad statistic, man. It's like, I can't remember. I think it's like 4 or 5% of, maybe even less of, like if there's 30 people in the rehab, I think it's like maybe 2 will stay sober. And that's, and that's not like a number to scare people. That's just a fact. Like if there's 30, 35 people in this rehab right now, 2.5%, something like that, 2.5 people, but that whatever percentage that equals out to will stay sober. And some will die because they'll go out and use like they did before and it'll kill them. And that's just a crazy number, man, to think about, that people are going to, like the 30 people in the treatment center, you're going to have at least 1 or 2 of you pass away, at least a couple of you are going to stay sober for a while. And then before you know it, you're going to be right back out. And I think out of the 32 that I was in there with, man, I think there's only 3 of us right now that's sober. And there's been one, at least one that's passed away. Like, it's crazy to think about. And
so tell me about that. Tell me about that path out of that.
Out of the rehab.
So rehab, it was 28 days. Yeah. It sounds like it served a specific
purpose. It did. Like it clicked that switch. Like, hey, you're not just here to check a box anymore. This is you. And so I got out of there January 17th, and I went into Recovery Resources, Sober Living, and that's weird too.
Is that a private? Are these private?
No
groups? Are these?
I mean, like anybody can apply to it.
Okay, but it's these are nonprofit.
Yeah, they're
groups?
nonprofits. Yeah, and they're like, it's not like they got there. So there's like an Oxford House program that's nationwide. Recovery Resources is, when I joined the program, they had 2 houses in Johnson City and 4 or 5 in Kingsport, and now they've got, I think, 15 houses now. They've just grown. Wow. And they're great people that runs it and own it, and the people that work for them. But I moved into the house, and that was a whole different thing too, because now I'm in there with 10 or 12 other people who are after the same goal I am. But like, I tell you, this is one of the things that I talk about a lot is I go into the house, and they're big on it, and it's not just like a halfway house or like a coming out of jail house. It's literally just a house, man, and you got 12 people, 10, 12 people that like you don't get like there's not a babysitter in the house. There's nothing that's like there's a camera in certain rooms like kitchen and common areas, but that's just in case something crazy pops off. Like they don't want to sit and watch cameras all the time. Like they're just there. So the people that run the program, Craig Forrester, Tabitha Edwards, like they are in recovery themselves. So they know the ins and outs of what works, what doesn't. And so, but they're also like, they're authority figures because they run the program, but they're your biggest cheerleaders, man. If you see something that you need help with, or you go talk to them. And one of the things I talk about is I'm in the house, I've been there a week, just got a job, and I come home from work my first day, and there's this guy that's been there months, and he comes up and he's like, "Hey man, how was your day?" Well, that's weird because nobody ever asks me.
Nobody ever cared.
Nobody ever cares. How was your day? And I was like, well, it was fine. And I'm wanting to see where this is going. Like, what's your angle? What's your motive?
You could tell he actually cared.
Yeah. At first I didn't. At first I was like,
you're
why
suspect.
are you? Yeah. Cause your guard's up,
Jaded.
Yeah. And you're like, man, what's your motive?
Which makes it even harder to make connections.
Yeah. And he's like, how was your day? And I said, it was cool. And he's like, cool. Hey man, I'm proud of you for sticking around. And then he just leaves. And that was it. And I was like, well, that was a little weird. And then like every day he kept doing it again. And then I had another buddy at the house who's ended up being my best friend in the world, Donnie. Man, he would come in every day after work, and we and him would just sit and have like a conversation. Hey man, how was your day? And I would tell him what was going on. He would talk to me about what was going on in his life. And he's just somebody I leaned on the last almost 3 years of everything in my life. And I would have never met that person if I would have never went to rehab, if I would have never had that click while I was in there, or if she would have never came to visit me in jail and asked me if I wanted it, I would have never met these people. And I mean, to me, that's just God, man. That's a spiritual thing.
Yeah. There's some heroes in this story, right? Like that did small things that really mattered.
Yeah. Small things that like just kind of changed trajectories,
Isn't that something?
And I got a job, it wasn't the best. I was laying sod for $10 an hour.
How long were you in Recovery Resources?
So I moved in January, and I was in there probably almost 20 months, man.
20 months?
Yeah, I was in there. I moved in January 2023, and I didn't move out till July 2024.
And you have two, did I hear you right that you have 2 people there who have been, they're recovering
the people that run the program.
And they're physically in the house.
No. They run the program.
Okay.
There's people in the house that's just like me coming in and stuff, but they run the program. You meet with them once a week. Okay. Like they have house meetings and whatnot. And like this, like it's pretty basic. They would just be like, how many days did you work?
So you've got a job at this point. You're living your life and living in this.
Seeing my kids when I can. So at the time, like you can't have your kids spend the night with you. It's a sober living house, and you have curfews, and you got to work your way up through the program and stuff. And I'm seeing my kids when I can, between work and everything going on. But like, I'm also building a relationship up with the people that run the program, with Craig, with Tabitha, with the people that work there. That's like, hey, talking to them about what I got going on in my life. This is what's going on with my kids. This is what's going on with this, this is what's going on with work. And then like, I get the opportunity to change jobs and go to another job from where I was, slowly getting better, getting better jobs. And like, man, I just talked to them about everything I had in my life and was open and transparent and vulnerable, not just with them, but like people in the house, people in the program.
When you say program, is this a 12-step program?
So it's their sober program is 12-step based. Like there's other sober living programs that you can do different things. Theirs was, hey, if you're going to live with us, you're going to work 12 steps. You're going to get a sponsor. You're going to do these things. And it wasn't like they don't force you to do it.
Yeah.
If you want to live there, you're going to work steps. If you don't, like, hey, go find something else that works. And that's, the program. When I say the program, I mean, I'm combining them, I guess, the 12-step program and the recovery resources program.
Yeah.
And I tell you, like I said, these trajectory changes from people in my life, and they are two definite people that fit into that, because once again, like it started with Melody and then it went to, Donnie and people in the house. And then like, I don't know where my life would be if I would have never met with these people, man. And I got into I was probably about almost a year sober. And, I wanted to do something I was in treatment during Christmas. I was in treatment I know how broken you feel. I know how rough it is to sit through that stuff. And I wanted to do something with the help of people that could do something for that. So we did a flag football fundraiser event, December 2023, that raised money, and we went into the treatment centers. We went into, the treatment centers in Johnson City and was like, hey, tell me what your kid's into. Tell me what your kid's age is and fill this paper out. So then we came back 4 or 5 days later, and within reason, what they put down on that paper, we didn't want you being in treatment center trying to better yourself shouldn't be a reason why your kids don't get another Christmas, Shouldn't be a reason why your kids get left behind again. So we were able to do that December 2023. I think we raised like $3,500 and was able to do that and help some people that was in the program, the sober living program as well. And then last December was our second one, and we raised over $6,000 and was able to do that again. But in the need between all that, we saw the need for I started working closely with people at Carter County Drug Prevention. And we saw the need where it's not like, hey, you're living in sober living. It's not that simple to just, well, go see your kids this weekend. It's not that simple. Some of you don't have a license. Some of you don't have a car. Some of you barely work because you're just now getting sober. Some of you have these requirements through drug court and all these things. So we found a requirement or, a need that's like, hey, some of these dads need help on visitations and need help. Like they get their kids on the visitation day, but they don't have anything. So we started I eventually got hired through Carter County Drug Prevention through the help, through doing sporting events. And, but while I was there, I helped start the program, the League of Ordinary Gentlemen, the fatherhood program that, we started a support group in Elizabeth, and it's, hey, you got a lot of dads in recovery that don't know how to connect. My kid was 5 when I started using, and now they're 12. Like, I don't know what to do.
And that relationship is seriously damaged.
Yeah, because they've seen, like in my experience, my kids saw a lot, man. My kids saw, dad getting arrested. My kids saw that, for the lack of better words, dad didn't really care if I was around because he was high. They watched me fall asleep in cereal. They watched me fall asleep in places I shouldn't have. They watched me come out with infection in my body and my arms swollen. The night before I went to jail, my son found me in the house. My leg was swollen and infected. And he called me. He's, at the time he's 14, doesn't really show emotion, 14-year-old boy, called me at 11 o'clock at night and said, can I ask you a favor, Dad? He said, can you just stop? Can you just stop getting high? And boy, I tell you, that crushed my heart, because I meant and everything in him, yes, buddy, I promise I'll stop. And about 14 hours later, I'm in jail on a felony charge.
Wow.
I couldn't even hear his voice when I called home and heard him, because it crushed me, because I felt like I disappointed him.
You just weren't capable.
No, it had so much. I was powerless and unmanageable was my life. And getting high had so much control over me that in the moment I told him, yes, buddy, I'll stop. I meant it.
Yeah.
But then it didn't matter anymore hours later.
And you're a strong, confident dude, right? Like,
well, maybe so much now.
But if it, my point is, if it can have that kind of effect on you, it can have that kind of effect on anybody.
And it does.
Yeah.
It does have that effect. You see it all the time, man. And that's what I'm so blessed to be. The people in my life, like, they know what it's like, because they went through it. They've went through, like, everybody close in my life today has walked a similar path. Like, they know, they understand. But that's the thing. Like, you have to surround yourself with people that understand, because, like, say I call you one night and be like, man, I'm struggling. You're going to be like, well, just don't do it. Like,
yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah, right.
Or, say call somebody else who's not been through it.
I'll give you some logical thing advice that makes sense to me.
Yeah. Why would you do that? And I'd be like, well, you don't understand. I'd be like, yeah, you're just weak-minded.
Yeah.
Because I've heard that one a lot. You're just weak-minded. Okay. Well, maybe, but I'm trying to talk to you for help. And I'd be like, I don't know what to tell you. Just don't do it. Or I can call somebody who's been through it, like, and within, like, I can call somebody and tell them I'm struggling, and within 10 minutes, I'll have at least 5 people at my house. And that's such a blessing from where I was, that loneliness in my apartment, thinking I'm so worthless. And then I can call people now and be like, man, they're here.
So I hear you talking about the first stage of it, the 28 days, and that sounds like that's just survival.
It's just building a foundation.
Yeah, and then you go to recovery resources. It sounds like that was a 20-month.
Yeah, so
20-month process.
Yeah, they don't have a set time frame, but I was there 20 months.
But when I hear you talking about it, you don't talk about specific programs or words that people told you. What I hear you saying is it's specific people and connections.
Yeah.
And like you said earlier, like addiction, and what was it? Addiction.
The opposite of addiction is connection.
The opposite of addiction is connection. And that's got to go both ways.
It does.
Right? Like the opposite of connections is addiction.
Yeah, it could very well be.
Is it that simple? Like, if you have connections, you're just less likely to fall into that.
I mean, and it's just my experience and my opinion, but I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's so important to have this connection. And like, if you grow up not having a connection, or not even just grow up, like as a young adult, you don't have the connection with people you think you do. And like me, nobody ever wakes up and says, man, this is what I want for my life. A lot of them probably started like me. Hey, let's just try this. It looks fun. And then before you know it, they're a convicted felon with drug charges or theft charges or.
The answer, what I hear you, the answer are the connections, but it's so hard to, like, we have to manufacture connections.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that. So that's, people think, I work in Carter County Drug Prevention. People think drug prevention is, like the DARE program or something from when we were kids. Just education. And it is, don't get me wrong, it's education, but like what we figured out and what we like to use is, man, let's put these events on to build connections for these young kids. Like I told you about the flag football event, but we do things all the time. Like we got a basketball event next month, but it's not just the sports programs that we offer. Like we have like art programs that they can come in and do like emotional support through art. There's just different things that we offer, man. We do, we go into the schools, like the alternative schools, and talk to kids. We go in and talk to the kids that have been caught vaping in school. We go in and just do different things. They're like, hey man, like I heard this thing super early on when I started working in Carter County. It was, kind of like the lighthouse is prevention. Yeah. Like the lighthouse isn't there for all the crashed ships. It's to make sure nobody else crashes in.
Yeah.
And like that stuck with me. Like that's what we do. And, and so we're not like, that's what we are as drug prevention. Like we're not here to, you know, I know people's already been here before and crashed out and all the things, but there's other ways to do it than just, hey, let's talk about this pamphlet or let's talk about this book, because connection is so important. And that's why we offer the parenting programs too. And
it's this part of what you're doing is prevention. So you're working with kids who are teenagers, who are probably you're targeting kids that are at risk. And the prevention, though, what you're telling me is connections. Yeah. And creating those connections. And you're doing that through sports and art. And are those connections with one another? Do these kids have connections with one another?
Or they do. But also like, we can't emphasize enough the power of positive role models. So, you know, people like me, people like the other people that I work with, the volunteers that we come, the participants that are in programs like Recovery Resources. There's the female one, which is Bridge to Shore, which is super close, Bridge to Shore Recovery. Like these people that come that are in the program now that get to bring their kids to these events and get to see the people. Like my kids love the village that's around them from these events, you know, like right now, my grandson is at the beach right now with the director of Recovery Resources and her kids. Like my other kids got to go to the beach, with other people through the program. Like they get to be around these people that we've built up through the village of recovery.
In a normal human civilization, we have villages, right? Like we have people looking out for one another, and these connections with aunts and friends and neighbors and teachers. Like that's how humans have. That's the way humans live. When you look at these kids, do they have? What does their village look like?
I mean,
before you create, before you manufacture this village.
I mean, a lot of times there's not one. A lot of times, so we see kids come in that's like they're living with their grandparents because mom and dad's struggling, or they're just now rebuilding things with their mom or dad because they're just now getting sober. And there's a lot of times they come in and they don't have anybody to talk to. They don't have anybody to. So we helped started a peer-led group for the youth, for the teens, because it's called Hear Us, because a lot of times they feel like they're left in the dark. And I can speak on my personal experience with my kids. Like my kids for the longest time, like I didn't care how they felt. I didn't care. Like they were just robots, man. Like I don't know why you're sad. You got no reason to be sad. I don't know why you're upset. Like, just go on, go to your mom's or whatever. Like, and she's 15 now, but my middle daughter, she told me, she was on a podcast, the Whiskey Ain't Working podcast, not too long ago. And she's never talked to me about it until she got on the podcast with us. But she said, I used to pray all the time for my dad to get better. And when he didn't, I felt like God just didn't listen to me or care what I said. And boy, I tell you, that will show you something that's like, well, she's not a robot. Like she has her own feelings and emotions, you know, and if she feels this way, I'm sure her older siblings feel something similar, you know, and it's just an eye opener.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not robots, but it's like the world has been built. It's more and more, it's like it's being built as if we're robots.
Right. And you know, with my kids, like you're going to feel how I want you to feel. And that's all I care about. Like, if you're sad, like, and I don't think you should be sad, get over it. Or like, if your feelings are hurt and I don't feel like they should be hurt, or I don't think I did anything to hurt them.
How much of that is the lack of connection between parents and kids? It's just, we think that because we lack those connections too.
Yeah. And I think also a lot of that's learned too, like I'm working really hard right now with my kids to, I guess for lack of better words, break that generational disconnect or curse or something like I can't tell you that, like, the way that I am with my kids now, and I'm not trying to, I know if my mom hears this, she's going to think that I'm talking negatively about her, and I'm not, because a lot of the things that she was doing the best she could. A lot of the things I do with my kids now is not things that I did as a kid. I want my kids to know they can come talk to me about things. I want my kids to know that, like, if life happens, I'm here. I don't want them to think, well, I can't go tell my dad about this. And it's to the point now, sometimes I don't want to hear it. Sometimes I'm like, gosh, I don't care to hear about the drama from school today. Like, means nothing to me. But what a blessing that is to go from watching dad fall asleep in his food to I can come and feel safe to tell him about what my day is today.
Yeah.
Like, it's a blessing.
But it sounds, it's a blessing, but it sounds like it's a blessing that a lot of kids don't have in their life. So when you're going into these schools and you're meeting these kids, they don't have those connections probably with parents, with friends. They don't have that village. And so what your work, you call it drug prevention. It sounds a lot like community building.
It is. Yeah, absolutely. It's community building, and it's like re-engaging families, man. Like, just how important it is, the connection. Like, I remember we did a Frisbee event last year sometime, and it wasn't a big turnout. There wasn't a lot of people there, and one of the girls that was there was like, I wish there was more people here because I was hoping for more. And I was just like, man, you're 4 or 5 year old, whatever old she was, like, you think she's going to remember that if there was 200 people here, or is she going to remember, man, I got out here and threw Frisbee with my mom? Like, you think, which one is she going to remember? And to me, that's what it's all about. Like, you're creating core memories. You're creating these things for these kids who may not have a stage or platform to ever do these things. And not just that, but they get to come meet people they know they can count on in life,
It sounds like these villages that you're trying to create. And what's crazy is you have to manufacture those. Like, in normal human history,
they were always there.
They're there. You walk out your front door, and there's a village. Like, there's literally, we don't have that. So we have to literally manufacture them. And so, but what I hear you saying is, in that village, there's a lot of important people.
Oh, yeah.
But the parents are especially important.
Yeah, the parents are important for sure, man, because who else are they going to look up to? Who else are they going to lean on? And that's the beautiful part of recovery is they saw the dark with their parents. They saw the rough stuff, whether that had to see what they saw with their parents or go to foster care or go to, a relative's house, and to see that, my parents changed. My mom and dad, my mom or my dad, they're not the person they were. And to be able to see that, and I guess for lack of better words, like, see that there's hope, that it's not always going to be that way. Is a great thing.
You observe that.
Oh yeah, like, you have to.
But you observe it in these events that you put on.
Absolutely.
Like, you physically observe that.
And not just for other parents and stuff. Like, I get to see it for myself. Like, I'm big on the power of reflection and the power of being present. Like, anytime we do an event and my kids are there, I just think back to the loneliness in my apartment. my kids sitting there, my kids coming over for a birthday and, I'm stealing from my kids so I can get high. Or my kids coming over to spend the night and I'm calling their mom at 9 the next morning to come get them because I don't want them there. And now to be able to have these events where not only are my kids present, but my kids are very like active in these things and like they're leaders in these things, and they're looked up on to people, and people come to them for advice about, hey, this is what's going on with my mom, and they're able to relay what they went through, and like, God, it's so powerful to just the reflection part of it, man.
I'm guessing that the kids are yearning for that relationship. Like, no matter how broken the parent is, no matter how many bad things that have been done, kids are yearning for that connection. And it's probably a lot to get a kid to give up hope of having that connection. But tell me how hard it is for the parent who is broken, who's literally stolen from their kid. How hard is it for that broken parent to believe that they could salvage this relationship? There's got to be so much guilt and shame involved.
There is, man, and there's so much guilt and shame, and there still is. Like, I've talked to my kids are older, and I've talked to them about things, and in the moment, when you're like that and you're stealing from your kids, and your kids are like, I conceded to the fact that this is how I was going to die. Like, I was going to live this way the rest of my life. And my kids, not just people around me, but my kids, like, they're just going to have to accept that this is who I am. And this is how your dad is. Sorry. And, I got a story about, like, my son. I told you he called me like the day before I went to jail and asked me to stop. And, I started trying to rebuild a process with him, when I got sober, tried to spend time with him, and one of the cool things we do is, there's a downtown Kingsport Recovery Resources office. Craig comes down there on the weekends during football season, and we just a bunch of us just go sit and watch football. Well, my son started coming with me to just sit, bond with dad and watch football. And now the last 2 seasons, he's been in the Recovery Resources fantasy football league. He gets to come and hang out with us, and like, I still have the guilt of the things I've done to him and his sisters, and not just that, the things I did to his mom. I don't want him to just forget what I did. I hope that he uses it. Him and my other kids use it as a learning experience or something. Like, I watched my dad do this, but I know it's as possible. And so, but he asked me to stop and all that, and so my first, maybe it was Father's Day 2024. He was working at Wendy's, and what we grew up on was wrestling. Like, we grew up on, or what I raised him on was sitting watching wrestling, and that was how we bonded, was just watching wrestling. And he was working at Wendy's, and 15 years old at Wendy's, you don't make a lot of money. And he spent $200 out of his Wendy's check, and he got me it was an authentic, like, it's real leather stuff. It says World's Greatest Dad Championship belt. And man, I tell you, when I opened that box on Father's Day, and like, I can't tell you the like how my heart was ready to burst, man, because knowing that he spent $200 out of his Wendy's check because that's how he felt about me, it was like, man, this unconditional love from my kids that I feel like I don't deserve, and they do. Like, he feels like feels that way about me. And like, my 15-year-old stays with me most of the time now. My 5-year-old grandson, I mean, I got court this week to get custody of him. My 10-year-old, I haven't seen her the last couple of weeks. I've had to work on the weekends, but she's called me like crying the last 2 nights. Like, Dad, I just miss you. And like, God,
you've gone from having no connections. To having now a life, it sounds like, full of connections.
Like, when something bad happens, like, I used to hear this stuff and I thought it was bullcrap, but now it's so true. When something bad happens, it's like, I don't know who to call. Not because I don't have anybody, but because like I've got different friends for different problems, you know, like if I want to just complain to somebody, I got one I can just call and vent to. But if I want to call and vent to one, but get some brutal honesty with it because they care, I got a couple to call for them, you know, and one, I got a sponsor through the program that like he's very supportive and I know he loves me, but he's also going to hit me with like, you are being really selfish right now. And I'm keeping it G-rated how he talks to me, but like, I don't take it as once as an insult. Yeah. It's all out of like, hey, I'm trying to help you.
This is your village.
Yeah.
So a lot of it sounds like you've talked about the prevention part, which you're doing with teens. And then there's this other part about the fatherhood support. Yep. And these are specifically people in recovery that are trying to reconnect on those broken relationships.
Yeah. So we're not strictly focused on recovery. Like anybody can come, but those are the ones that do show up mainly. And, and like, there's such a broad, like spectrum of people that come and I'm not going to put names or anything out there, but like there's one dad that comes that like his kids are 6 hours away and he does his best to see them 4 or 5 times a year. He talks to them every year, every week, every day almost. But like there's the treatment center brings guys who's in treatment now, brings guys to the groups that get to see stuff. Like they're going through the things now. And like we have one that had no contact with his kid while he was in treatment, had a no contact order, and now he's got custody. And like that just offers hope to these people who are in treatment now that are like, man, I'm going through the same situation. And he's like, well, this is what happened. We have one that's it's interesting. It's we have one that's a reformed Aryan white supremacist who has a transgender kid. And that's a whole different aspect that he can relay to people, you know? And we have one that didn't have kids till he got in recovery. So he doesn't know the difficulties of reconnecting. He knows the difficulties of having kids while you're sober.
I'm sure every one of those stories is unique. They're probably the complexities in every one of those is unique. What do you see as, like, I wouldn't say universal, but what do you see that most people are having to work through? What are the hardest things for them?
Well, I mean, if it's just basic difficulties trying to be around their kids, it's something simple like transportation. But if we're going into like the emotional parts or the delve parts, it's the difference of being there and being present. Like it's the difference of, oh, I'm with my kids today. Okay. Well, are you being present with your kids today? Like, my kids are here, but are you actively involved with your kids right now? Like put your phone down, ask them what they're into and consistency. Be consistent. If you say, hey, if all I can do is call you this week, I'm going to call you Friday at 5. You make sure Friday at 5 you are on the phone with that kid. Or I'm going to call you every night at 9 to tell you good night. You make sure every night at 9 you set an alarm for 8:55. Call my kid good night. And sometimes people won't think like, oh, man, it's telling your kid good night. How could you not do that? We did a lot of things that was higher priority to us and we're relearning. So presence and consistency, like that's the thing that people, also, one of the things that a lot of dads early on struggle with in the program is entitlement. I'm your dad. You're going to respect me. What have you done to earn that dad title? Like you've not been in this kid's life. You've not done anything. All he's seen is you going to jail and you being mean to his mom. But just because I'm your dad, you're going to respect me. What have you done?
You got to earn it.
You got to earn it. So that's where the entitlement comes in. Or I'm your dad, I want to see you. You're going to see me. Man, your kid's 15 years old. You've not been around for 10 years. Why does he have to see you? Why do they have to see you? Because you told them to. Like, they have their own feelings, man. They got their own thing. Or, well, I'm around my kids and they don't even talk to me and I want them to. Is it awkward for you? Yeah, it's awkward for me. Imagine what it is for them. You're a grown man who's working through your feelings. They're a 14-year-old kid, 10-year-old, 14-year-old who doesn't know what to do yet. Yeah. And there's just things like that.
And those are critical pieces.
Yeah.
Before there can be a relationship. And people don't change on education alone.
No. Like, we could go in and read books, read stuff out of the book and read the tip sheets and read everything to these kids or read everything to these dads. When you've lived it, that's the whole part of the peer support process of it, is the peer aspect of it is you got a room full of men that's lived it. You got a room full of people that's been like, man, I know what it's like when my kid doesn't want to talk to me because he's still holding on to stuff for the last 10 years. Well, you can't just go in there and say, well, I'm here now, get over it. You can say that, but how is that repairing anything? How is that rebuilding the relationship with your kid? Just telling them to get over it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of uncomfortable conversations, especially when the kids are older. There's uncomfortable conversations you have to get through it. Like one of the process and the steps is making amends. You got to make amends with your kids too. You have to. And those are, speaking for myself, those are some uncomfortable conversations because I tell myself this live, what a great parent I was, even in addiction. And then hearing them talk, it's like, maybe I wasn't. So how do I fix this with you? And move forward with that.
Wow. And it has to be done. It has to be done in community. I think about the different phases of your recovery. The 28 days. It wasn't alone.
No.
It wouldn't have, there was no path to success if you were alone. The 20 months. If you had been alone, no chance. Right? And then putting those relationships back together again. You're telling me now that can't be done alone either.
No.
So how many guys, dads want to reconnect with the kids, and they just don't have that community to help them figure out how.
Almost every one of them come through the door. We don't have actual clients, but we have a lot of people that come to the support groups because we have 4 of them now in different areas. And I think a month ago, if we counted them all through the week, there was over 40 that came in between the 3 or 4 groups. And they all come in wanting connection with their kids, or they want to come in. So that's another part of it too, is so working with Recovery Resources, the program I went through, and we work really closely on a lot of things. They now have a visitation trailer where if dads get a visit with their kids, you can apply, you can request to stay there for the night at their trailer, which is right next to one of the houses, to keep your kid for the night. Part of their requirements is you got to come to 2 of our support groups a month.
Okay.
And so they come in and they want to rebuild reconnections with their kids. They hey, I want to be around my kid. I want to do this. I want to do that. I just don't know where to go. I don't know what to do to even start it because I haven't seen them in 3 years. Well, if that particular situation, you haven't seen your kids in 3 years, you know where they're at. Yes. Bite the bullet and make that uncomfortable phone call or text. Just open the communication, and you may not get what you want back. You may not get a happy response to hear from you because there's people that have them probably have some resentment towards you, and your kids are young, so they can't respond for themselves. Open the communication and do whatever they ask you to do.
Yeah. And kind of going back to the beginning of your story, I suspect that these dads they're broken themselves, they're putting themselves back together, and their self-belief is not high.
No. And that's where the connection comes in too, because you build each other up together. You know, my buddy Jimmy tells this story of, you know, something about trees or something, but like if you have a stick and you break it pretty easily, if it's by itself, you put 20 together, a little harder to break. So the more people you have supporting you, I mean, that's the perfect kind of example for this whole thing is if you're going to break by yourself, build people around you, harder to break.
When you look back at your journey and you've watched other people, you've been such a part of this journey for other people. Is this last part, like putting the relationships back together again? Is it harder than the recovery part?
It's more uncomfortable because like the recovery aspect of it is, I got sober and I'm working on myself. Building the relationships back, you get to hear from people what you did to them during your addiction.
Ooh, yeah.
And sometimes it's things we don't even think about. Sometimes it's like, I know I lied to you and I stole from you. I'm sorry. Or I was wrong for that. To hear their perspective of it, and not just my kids, like family, friends, to hear their perspective of what I did. It's uncomfortable, but it's necessary to move forward.
It's a necessary part of it.
Yeah. And the whole amends process. It never ends really, because there's going to be things that you do that people are going to get hurt by or people are going to get offended by. And it's something you got to keep moving. Like you can't just stop. I've got some experience with just doing a few and stopping. And it still eats at you. Like, man, I know I wronged people, or I know I'm still wronging people. I know I'm still lying to people. I know I'm still doing things because I got sober and I'm trying to help people doesn't mean that I'm just this great person and I'm going to do these great things. I'm still hurting people sometimes. I'm still by my actions, and I can say words, but my actions aren't backing them up. So I have to, if I want to be this principled person and do these things that I'm trying to preach to people, it's kind of hypocritical if I'm not doing it myself. So the whole amends process is still something that's like, hey, let's have this uncomfortable conversation where I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to talk to you about what I did, but then you get a chance to talk. And I like the amends process. Like if I'm making an amends with you, I'm going to tell you what I did and then be like, well, what did I leave out? And then you get to talk to me about what I did to you. And I don't get to say, well, I did that because I was high, or I did that because I wasn't the right person. It doesn't matter why I did it. So I got to grit, bear it, and you're right, and let you get your feelings out. And those are some uncomfortable conversations.
And there's a structure. There's a structure to this amends process, and it sounds like this is part of what you coach in these groups. Yeah, we don't.
So it's not a 12-step program that we do in the groups, but a lot of the people who are in recovery come to the group. So we take the principles we've learned from the steps.
Yeah.
And there isn't. I mean, it's not like we don't call it an exact amends in the groups, but like you got to have some forgiveness for yourself, and you got to talk to these people, and you got to put your ego to the side and be like, well, I'm not calling baby mama because we got an argument and she's got a new boyfriend and blah, blah, blah. I don't care, man. If you want to see your kids, like that's the situation you're in that you've put yourself in. So grit and bear it. Well, I'm not going to do that because, boyfriend's here and I don't like him. Doesn't matter, man. Like he's the one there for your kids when you're not, and you got to swallow that. And those are some tough conversations we have in groups too.
Yeah. So much of what you're saying, like you're talking about an extreme place in people's lives. Like they're extremely vulnerable. They're extremely lonely, extreme lack of connections.
Yep.
But like they apply to everybody. Like this is not like amends and having these conversations and reconciling and acknowledging our own contribution to broken relationships. like, that's not unique. Like, we all relationships require that. And it's hard. Mm-hmm. Like, you focus on this, and you've got groups and you've got support groups, but for most humans, we don't have that. Mm-hmm. But we still have the broken relationships, mm-hmm. right? And so in some ways you have an advantage by having this shared history with people mm-hmm. that what we would call functioning people don't have.
Yeah.
And I just think about, like you said, it's like you go through this process of the recovery, and you're there because of the lack of connections. Mm-hmm. It seems like you have to create those, rebuild those connections in order to not become an addict again. Like
mm-hmm.
It's not. Course. It's not like the cream on the. It's not like the cream on the on the dessert. Mm-hmm. Like, it's literally a part of recovery is mm-hmm. you have to have these connections. Mm-hmm. You have to create these connections.
Yeah, and
to complete the recovery.
Right. I guess, well, that's kind of very similar to what the 12th step is. Yeah. Is the 12th step in the steps is, you give it back what was given to you, and you build these connections up, and you keep the connections, but also, like, you keep going to, like, meetings, you keep going to the treatment centers, you keep going back to where you came from, and keep bringing people with you. Like, go preach, you reach back into the darkness, and you keep pulling people out so they can keep pulling people out. Then you do these events, and you build these connections. And like, part of the connections we got is, me and you have talked about wrestling before. Mm-hmm. Part of the things that we have connections with is, recovery resources, Carter County Drug Prevention, Bridge to Shore Recovery. We all sponsor some of the wrestling in Kingsport, Net Pro, Innovate. And we built connections through that to where, we started wrestling a little bit in Elizabeth, and me and my buddy Jeremy and my best friend Donnie, we started wrestling a little bit here and there. And now, like, once a month, it's a whole big thing where we bring probably at least 25 to 30 of the people that are there are people that we brought from the recovery community that just come out and watch us wrestle, man. And like, for me, it's a dream come true, because I grew up watching wrestling, and to come out and have 30 people that I love to death sitting out there cheering me on, like, it is like, they could tell me tomorrow, like, hey man, like, we don't want you to do this anymore. Like, we're good. And guess what? I'm 38 years old and got to come out and wrestle for 6 months. Like, that's amazing to me. And that's just an example of the connections in the community that, like, my kids come out and get to watch dad wrestle with 30 people they're close with.
The village,
man. And it's great.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
Well, you guys are doing, you do some events, mm-hmm. and these events are part of creating that, mm-hmm. creating that village. Mm-hmm. And I think it's looking at it from the outside, this addiction is so powerless, but what can people do? What can people do to help?
So the events we do locally, just come out and support, man. Like, we have one in September that's a basketball event. You can participate, you can come out. So everything, like, when we do these sporting events and stuff, everything we raise goes right back into the dad fund, man. And like, the dad group fund. And what we've been able to do with that is, like, we got one of the dads has a kid that was going to college last month, a couple weeks ago, needed help. Well, we had a fund that we were able to help him get stuff for his dorm. There was one that, needed help filing a fee for a visitation fee for court. Well, we got a fund for that. We can help you with that. We got a whole resource closet of hygiene, backpacks, stuff that you don't think about. Hey, you need help, just call us, come in. We got it for you. We got 4 groups, like I said, just come out and, lend your experience. Like, we got one in each Tri-Cities now, Bristol, Kingsport, Johnson City, and Elizabeth. And we got one in there. We're working on one in Hawkins County and Churchill. It's cool stuff. Just like the way you can help is just come out and support, reach out to us and be like, hey, I want to help out the dad program. or not just the DAD program, just Carter County Drug Prevention in general, because we do so many things for the community. Like I said, the art program, the vape programs, just different things we do. That, you know, we have a reentry program that we go into the jails and work with people coming out. We work closely with the sober living. We have a mom program. We have a mom support group on Wednesdays. We do parenting classes once a month because we're firm believers of parenting role models and helping, you know, moms and dads coming into recovery to show their kids, you know, hey, you got a village around you, you know.
Wow. Yeah. Man, what a story. Like I've heard a lot. I've heard a lot of stories.
Yeah.
I think I probably learned more from yours than
I
maybe any of the stories that I've heard.
Yeah.
And it's always like every great story I've heard has heroes that like show up.
Oh yeah, I got several.
At the right place at the right time. And they're not always like heroic
big actions,
right?
Yeah.
They're just like the comment that the guy made to you day after day. The authentic.
Yeah, just checking on me, man. Hey, how are you? And and it's not these big, huge, heroic acts, but it could be little things that just changes life trajectory, man. Like just that dude checking on me and having little conversations with my friend, a dude at the time that I was just in a house with, checking on me every day, having these. It was kind of like spousal conversations when you come home from work and they're like, so tell me about your day. And you just kind of sit and shoot the breeze, man. And then before you know it, like here it is almost 3 years later and he's my best friend in the world. And like, and he's one of the best dudes you'll ever meet. And he's actually, you know, he's the little skull here in my wrestling group. He didn't know a thing about wrestling, man. He don't know nothing. I said, hey buddy, well, you want to be our manager? And he said, I don't even know what that is. And he's the best hot man you'll ever meet. And like my life now it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but like there's times I just go down the road and look and I'm like, God, thank you for putting me here, man. Thank you, God, for doing this, helping me here, you know. And just, I mean, I send people text messages and I'll get text messages now that's just like, hey man, love you, thinking about you. Man, to think about that 3 years ago.
You don't take that for granted.
No, God, no, because I know what it's like to text people and see that bubble where they read it and don't reply.
Yeah.
And now I get messages from people just be like, I love you lots, love you, thinking about you, I love you so much. And to be loved like that from people that I didn't know was on this planet 3 years ago is pretty special, man.
Yeah. Well, it is an inspiring story.
Oh yeah.
And there's little heroic efforts, but
they make a big effect, man.
Man, the stuff you're doing, that's not little heroic efforts. That's big heroic efforts with the cape on.
Yeah,
and like it's really, really impressive stuff. Yeah. And appreciate you giving all of this back.
No, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah.